Dumb, dumb, dumb. How dumb can you be, George? Well, I can be that dumb. All right, those of you that are familiar with my videos know that they're about various things. I like to ride electric unicycles. I like to ride motorcycles. But I don't just make videos about those things because you can only watch somebody ride around on an electric unicycle or a motorcycle for so long before you get bored. So I want to narrate a little bit. I want to tell you a story or educate you or something. So this one is going to be about 5 things that I learned on my last weekend group ride for motorcycle group ride over the weekend, just past Saturday and Sunday. It reminds me, I recently applied for my license to carry in Texas, and when you're doing the application, they ask you, have you ever used an alias? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. But come to think of it, I'm Mursegeorge on the YouTube channel, so maybe I should have told them about that so they can look up Mursegeorge and see if I've did any violent crimes. I haven't. I'm clean. I wanted to do a video for you guys, all my new friends that I'm meeting in the San Antonio metropolitan area, out Kerrville way. I've done a lot of riding recently on my motorcycle and motorcycle group rides. I had some good time. I feel like my skills are getting better all the time. We had a great weekend here recently. So today's Tuesday, the 18th, but this past Saturday and Sunday was nothing but riding. There was 2 group rides. I'm talking about 2 clubs here in the San Antonio, Kerrville, Hill Country area. 210 on 2s, so that's the San Antonio-based Facebook group, and then Kerrville Motorcycle Group. And I tell you, each day was really fun. I was pleased with everything with regard to the ride, the people that came out, the organization. I want to give a shout out to Brian Evans. He kind of heads up the Texas Sport Bike Motorcycle Rallies. He's kicking off the Summit in the Hills coming up this weekend. Unfortunately, I cannot attend. I've got some lives to save. I've got to work. But you guys are in for a treat if you can make it out there. There's live music, there's group rides, there's going to be food, barbecues, a lot of games, poker, you name it. Good times for like 3 or 4 days. It starts Thursday. It's the 20th through the 23rd, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I'm working every one of those days or else I'd be there for sure. But look into it and go out there if you can, because it's good times guaranteed. I've just been really impressed with all the people that participate in these groups. I had my reservations about group rides, and you hear so many horror stories about, unsafe conditions and people just carrying on about, oh, my bike's better than yours and my type of bike is better than yours. We had all kinds of bikes. We had cruisers, we had like enduro bikes or off-road rally bikes. We had lots of sport bikes, and everybody rides and has a good time and just conducts themselves appropriately. So thank you for everybody for being on your best behavior and setting a good example. Also wanted to give a shout out and recognition to Trevor Steinmetz. Trevor's very active within these 2 groups, San Antonio 210 on 2s and the Kerrville Motorcycle Group. He heads up a lot of the group rides in the Twisted Sister area. So that's where most of my group ride experience has come from, the Twisted Sisters. And I've got a couple of videos on it, just kind of touching on what they are and what they offer. In any case, Trevor is a upstanding young man. I mean, this guy's early 20s, but he acts very mature, and he really takes the responsibility of being a leadership role model for these group rides. He takes it seriously, takes everybody's safety seriously, wants everybody to have a good time, but bottom line, wants everybody to make it back home at the end of the day. So I really want to give him the recognition that he deserves, because that's no small thing. So thank you, Trevor. If anybody of you that don't know him has the opportunity to make his acquaintance, go up to him, shake his hand, and say, pleased to meet you, because you will be pleased. He is an upstanding young man. All right, so moving on. The topic of the video is 5 things that I learned on this last weekend of group rides. Let's start out with number 1. And these are in no particular order as of importance. They're just 5 things that came to mind and I wanted to share with you. Number 1, don't overstay your welcome. And by that I mean just don't stay too long. Sunday I was having such a good time with Trevor and the guys in the Twisted Sisters. We had such a good turnout, like 35-40 motorcycles at the beginning of the day. And every time I go out there I just want to make the most of it, and I don't want to leave. And the thing is that I messed around and stayed too long, which meant that I had to drive home more than 70 miles in the dark. And the problem with that is that my visor was tinted. So there I go, jump on I-10 in traffic, 85 miles an hour after dark with a tinted visor. Now I know you're going to say, dumb, dumb, dumb. How dumb can you be, George? Well, I can be that dumb. I can be even dumber. But I usually try to use better judgment than that. Those of you that don't know, you can't just lift the visor. I wear glasses too. You know, I wear prescription glasses in my helmet. So, you know, you need some wind protection. You know, those of you that don't know, those of you that have been riding for years know that, you know, you're driving down the road 85 miles an hour, you need some wind protection. So you've got to have the visor down. And with it tinted at night, it's kind of a scary proposition, limited visibility. And there were 2 other guys coming back to San Antonio with me. One of them, another Trevor, that lives out New Braunfels way or something like that. Anyway, he took off because he's you know, a young whippersnapper that is a much more skilled driver than me, a rider than me. So he took off, and I'm willing to bet that he didn't have a tinted visor on his helmet, because he's probably smarter than me even at his young age. Anyway, I make mistakes, okay? I learn from my lessons. Hopefully I learned from my lessons. But in any case, and then I think the other rider that was riding with us is Jason, the professional photographer that Trevor recruited to go out there and ride with us, enjoy the Twisted Sisters, and capture a lot of photos. And I'm sure a lot of you have already seen some of the stunning footage, photographs that he captured for us. I know I got a couple from him, and I've already saved them to my computer and started using them, passing them around. I think I changed my profile picture maybe to one of his shots. So good job, Jason. I appreciate your work. I appreciate you being there. Pleasure to have met you, and I look forward to seeing you again. In any case, let's stay on focus here. That is, don't be like George. Don't be like Mursegeorge, and go out somewhere and be afraid to leave when it's time to leave. I overstayed my welcome. I stayed too long, you know. And it gets dark, you know, we've already had time change, you know, it gets dark, what, 7:30 now? Well, I still didn't leave in time. It takes me an hour and a half to get back home. And that's going motorcycle speed, which is, you know, a little faster than the speed limit. Anyway, scary proposition to drive at night with a tinted visor. A very dumb thing, and one that I hope I never have to repeat. All right, moving on. Number 2, this has to do with the manufacturer of your motorcycle. Their manufacturer suggested tire pressure. So you need to kind of take that with a grain of salt and take a couple more things into consideration. Primarily temperature. So I ride a 23 MT-09, Yamaha MT-09, and the book says that cold tire pressure should be, I think it's like 36 and 40 or 42, but this is cold. So if you put 36 front, 40 in the rear, cold, and you plan on riding, on a summer day, you check that pressure again in the middle of your day, and it's going to be overinflated. And that's what happened to me. Now, we're not even in summer. Temperatures are still very mild. I think when we started out this morning, or that morning, Saturday and Sunday morning, maybe 60 degrees, something like that, low 60s, and then it warmed up into like 80 degrees during the heat of the day. So still very mild, not even 95 degree, 100 degree summer temperatures, that is heat. So if you don't know, folks, temperature affects the pressure in your tires. Well, temperature always affects the pressure, no matter what. It doesn't have to be just in your tires. It could be in a air tank or something like that. But different gases are affected differently under pressure and under certain temperature differentials. So in any case, the manufacturer says 36 degrees, 36 psi at cold temperatures. So that's what I started out with in the morning, not thinking about the differential that was going to be affecting my temperatures throughout the day. And the thing is that we were probably 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon in the Texas Twisted Sisters, and I noticed a traction deficiency. Even at one point, I actually had to stop. And some of the guys stopped with me in order to check my pressure. I thought that I had a flat tire because I just had really poor traction. And I was like, what is going on? Do I have a flat tire? And I stopped, and Colton was good enough to pull over with me and check my rear tire. And no, it was inflated, completely inflated. So I saw that, okay, that's fine. So we jumped back on, and we boogied on down the road to the next kind of rally point where everybody, kind of rallied together, those of us that got separated for one reason or another. And I bust out my tire pressure gauge, and man, I had over 50 PSI in that back tire when I started out at, 40. So that's the kind of difference that temperature can make. Big difference. And we're not even, like I said, we're not even in the heat of summer yet, It wasn't 95 or 100 degrees. 95 or 100 degrees, that pressure might have been upwards of 60 PSI, when I started at 40. So it's not just something they say that temperature can affect the pressure in your tires. It is so true. Some of you may, in your cages during the cold months, you may get the low pressure warning on your dash, and that's because of this very thing. You have adequate pressure when it's 78 degrees, but when it's 38 degrees, you don't have adequate pressure, and your tire pressure monitoring system illuminates that light on your dash. So that's what that's about, and it affects motorcycles just as well, and more severely, because in a cage you have 4 wheels. On a motorcycle you only have 2, so traction loss because of improper tire pressure is a serious thing, and can be detrimental to your health. So anyway, moving on, number 3. So don't waste time on these group rides. So where I'm going with this is we wasted probably an hour and a half, 2 hours at the Bent Rim Grill. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing those folks. Those are good folks. I like that place. It's perfectly situated where we want to have fun and break for lunch. We go there every time we ride the Twisted Sisters. We go to the Bent Rim Grill. But it was such a pretty day. There were so many people out enjoying the Twisted Sisters and the Bent Rim Grill around lunchtime or shortly thereafter that they were just piling up the business there. What I'm talking about is we waited 90 minutes for a hamburger. You know, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but 30 people placed an order all at one time, and their grill only accommodates 20 hamburgers at one time. So in any case, we wasted too much time waiting for food. And it's not like it's a French restaurant. It's fine dining. It's food that is worth waiting for. I mean, again, I don't mean to knock these folks or the food that they serve. It's good enough. No complaints. They have a good menu out there. The quality is good. But, it's just a hamburger and tater tots. If I knew that it was going to take that much time, if I knew that I was going to lose so much of my valuable riding time, I would have just not eaten. I would have eaten from the convenience store or something. So let this be a lesson. Learn from Mursegeorge's mistakes. I always say in some of my videos that my videos are about Mursegeorge's F-ups, Learn from my F-ups so you don't have to waste your time or your blood or your sweat or your tears or your money. Learn from George's mistakes, my F-ups. So, lesson learned. When they are busy as hell at the Bent Rim Grill, don't place an order because you're going to be waiting a while. It's not because they're slow or they're anything. It's just, that's the way it goes. When they have tons and tons of business come in all at once, it's going to take you a while to get your food. If you've got all the time in the world, you don't mind, hey, go for it. But if time is limited, keep that in mind. And, fasting, I'm talking about extended periods of time between your meals. Fasting's good. Intermittent fasting, I use that a lot in my, while I'm working. I work 12-hour shifts, and oftentimes I don't eat for 16 hours at a time. And you know what? You think that, maybe if you're a diabetic and you suffer from low blood sugar or something, that might affect you negatively. But if you're in good health, it's not going to kill you to go 12 hours, 16 hours without eating. As a matter of fact, your body goes into ketosis and start burning fat. You want to burn some fat? Fast. Intermittent fasting. Check it out. All right, now moving on. Number 4. If you're new to group rides, if you're new to motorcycling and group rides, you may not, and I read this in the forums all the time, people are afraid to go to these group rides because they don't know anybody. Or, they show up to these group rides and they just stay in their little comfort zone. Don't be afraid to talk to different people, strange people. Everybody's strange in their own way. I'm sure I'm plenty strange. Don't judge a book by its cover. Get out there, introduce yourself. You don't know what to talk about? Hey, you're all there enjoying motorcycles. Talk about your motorcycle. Admire somebody's motorcycle. Ask somebody advice about your motorcycle. Ask about places to ride, things that you need to visit or acknowledge on these rides. There's so many cool people, interesting people, things that you can learn from these folks. But I'm talking about on organized group motorcycle rides. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself and talk to these good folks. I've done it. I put myself out there, and I haven't been disappointed yet. Everybody's cool. Everybody is happy that you're there. Everybody's happy that you're talking to them. So don't hesitate. Overcome your fear. Step out of your comfort zone, because that is how you're going to grow. All right. Keep it moving, George. Number 5. What is number 5? How do I say this? Okay, so I told y'all about the ride captain, Trevor Steinmetz. Upstanding young man. He was a hell of a captain. He took the responsibility of leading these group rides very seriously. So I want to thank him for his professionalism and embracing the responsibility of this big job, because you're kind of taking on a bit of responsibility, because you want everybody to enjoy themselves out there, but you want everybody to stay safe and live to ride another day. So he does that. He does it well. So he employed me as a tail gunner. So that's the guy that stays in the rear with the gear. Also known as a sweeper. So tail gunner, sweeper, it's the guy that falls back, stays at the back of the group to make sure nobody gets lost, nobody gets stranded, nobody gets hurt, you know. And I did that on a couple of the runs during the weekend, and I was happy to do it because I have made videos before about riding your own ride and the importance of riding your own ride. Plus, I don't claim to be the most excellent motorcyclist. I can assure you there's probably about 80% of the people on this group ride are better than me. So it's no big hardship for me to stay in the rear with the gear. Happy to do it, and I did it on a couple of occasions on this ride. And in one instance, so this is number 5, when the ride captain shows up in the rear with you and gives you an opportunity to drop a gear and disappear, take it. So he did. He surprised me. He didn't tell me that he was going to do that. He showed up in the rear with the gear and surprised me and said, go on. So I did. I took the opportunity and I opened up. I nailed that tachometer and I got to have some fun. So I passed up all the slower riders and got into open territory, and I'll show you a little footage of that, of me having a good time, dropping a gear and disappearing. Thank you, Trevor, and thank you everybody that so graciously let me pass. As always, I thank you for your time and attention. I value your time. Again, I've said it before, time is our most valuable resource. You only have so much time on this planet. And when you give a little piece of that time to somebody else, you'll never get it back. So that's why it's more precious than gold. I respect your time. Thank you. If you're not a member of the Mursegeorge channel, go ahead and subscribe. That way you won't miss out on any of my future videos. I appreciate you again, and I look forward to seeing you on the next group ride. Thank you, and Mursegeorge out. Bye.